Okay, today's topic is going to be, is yoga a religion or a cult? And by practicing yoga, are you going to go to hell? uh, so the short answer is no, it is not a religion. Yoga could be a philosophy at best. The Western yoga is mainly all athletics, more of an exercise program than any kind of religion or anything like that. But you go to a yoga studio, you are going to see some things that are the spiritual realm, and did come from the what later became the Hindu religion. So, are we practicing Hinduism? I guess would be the question with yoga, and I would say no, we're not. Yoga began in ancient India, in the Indus Valley, before there was Hinduism, before there was any kind of ism at all. They were rishis practicing along the Saraswati River in the Himalayas. And the Western people came in, instead of saying Hindu, they said Hindu, and they became the Hindu people. But Hinduism in itself is not a religion, it's a philosophy. It's more of said to be a Sadatam philosophy of devotion, of finding the truth of who we are. And so it is not really a religion in itself. It's open to anything that brings us to the truth. And and then it evolved to Buddhism, and there's Buddhist yogis out there as well. And Greeks were involved with the yogic type practice. So, it's not contained all into the Hindu religion. Again, Hinduism isn't a religion, it's a philosophy. You think of like the recovery process. A lot of people say that's a cult and a religion and that kind of thing. But we know that there is no set book. Well, I guess there is in recovery, because there's like the big book. You can see that as a kind of a Bible kind of thing. But there, in like NA, there's a basic text and those kind of things, those kind of writings that can be seen that way. But we are encouraged in recovery to find our own God. And in yoga, we're also encouraged to find our own God, the God within, and not necessarily, worshiping any outside deity. Although you're going to see some kind of, pictures. I have a Ganesh shirt on. I don't know if you can see that, but Ganesh and, Shiva and those kind of things are going to be on the wall maybe. And you say, well, what is all that about? That seems like idols or something like that. They're more of ideas, what they stand for. Like Ganesh is the remover of obstacles, and that's why in our yoga studio we have a lot of Ganesh images and things like that, because we're removing our obstacle of our disease. We were removing our obstacle of our defects. We were removing the obstacles of all those things that are stopping us from finding our own freedom. And so that's what Ganesh represents. And Shiva is more of the absolute, the energy that we could call Shiva, the energy of recovery, possibly, or the light. And a lot of yoga is about darkness and light. And our recovery process is about darkness and light. And our addiction was darkness. And while I was using, I lived in the dark. Our disease lives in the dark. It lives in the shadows. It lives where, we don't want to tell anybody what we're doing. And we're certainly not doing light worker kind of things out in the street. And so we can see our addiction as being darkness, and our recovery being light. And so we're moving from the darkness to the light. One of the most famous yogic sayings is, lead me from darkness, from the lies. And our addiction is full of lies, lead me from the lies to the truth. And so we're looking for reality in our yogic practice, and we're looking for reality in our recovery process, aren't we? Through our 4th step, our 5th step, and those kind of things. And so then the other next line is lead me from the darkness to the light, which is the addiction is the darkness into the light of recovery, and remove my fear of death or my fear of addiction to the possibility of recovery. So there's a lot of parallels between recovery and a yogic process. But, yoga is not a religion, is that you're not signing up to, you're not throwing your hat in the ring like you would in any other type of thing. You're not declaring yourself a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim or, Christian. So, you're not proclaiming I'm a yogi, my religion is yogi. But we take the philosophy of yoga and take it into our religion, and our religion becomes more whole. And so, in that way, our yoga practice enhances our religion, whatever our religious beliefs. You make a better Catholic by doing yoga and listening to the principles of yoga. You become a better Methodist or Buddhist or whatever form or religion you're practicing. And even yoga helps the Hindus become better Hindus, or Islam or things like that. In our studio, we have all these signs. We have Islamic signs, we have Christian signs, we have the cross, we have Jewish signs, we have Native American feathers and things like that. It's all encompassing. It's the God of your understanding. And it's not up to me or anything like that. So it's not a cult either, just like recovery process isn't a cult, because there's no cult leader or anything like that. You're not joining a club. There's no secret handshakes in yoga or anything like that. And so this is why some of the reasons that that yoga is not a religion. Of course, the postures are just an eighth of the system of yoga. There is 7/8 other things other than the postures, the asanas, the exercise. But you go in that at your own rate. To mainly it's meditation. It's also principles of lifestyle, the principles of non-harming, of honesty, of not stealing, of using your sexual energy in a correct way, of non-attachment, of purity. And all these things are part of the yogic practice and the yamas and niyamas. And yamas and niyamas really mirror our recovery process. And if we're living by those, we are living to the higher standards of most any religion. It all comes down into principle and spirituality or spiritual principles in our values, what we value in our life. And then in the yogic process, and we go into more of we work with our breath, we work with our concentration, we work with meditation, going into deeper meditation. Really, yoga, the original word was, the word means yoking. So we're yoking our individual consciousness to the higher consciousness, which would, can be the God, whatever you want to call God. It doesn't matter what you call God. God doesn't care what you call him or her or it or however you want to see that. It's not a requirement for you to call your higher power anything. You can just live by the principles. And then if you're living by the principles, you're living a good, wholesome life, no matter whose standards you're going by. So I hope that's helpful. And, talking about the religious fact, you might hear the word Om at the end of a class or something like that. And he's like, oh, what is this Om thing? Is it? But it's a word that's not in any language. It's just a sound. It does relate kind of to evolved into Amen. So Om, Amen. In Jewish faith, there's something similar to that. And so it's all, but it's all just a sound that's said to be going through the universe. And then you might hear Namaste. Namaste originally is the light in me recognizes the light in you, but in our studio, my recovery recognizes your recovery. It goes into that sense of anonymity, that we're all equal, that we are one in recovery. And so there is that you might hear again. And but don't be afraid. Have an open mind when you come into yoga, and a lot of people just go for the exercise, and that's fine. Maybe that's what you're all you do. Maybe that's all you want to do. But there is some deeper aspects of yoga, and I hope you take advantage of that as well. The spiritual principles. It's kind of like going into recovery. And, you can maybe look at the steps, you might hear about the traditions and things like that. But if you don't really work them, if you don't really go into the deeper aspects of the steps and traditions, then it's all surface. And, just like in recovery, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Nobody forces you to do steps or traditions, but they are there. And the same thing with the spiritual principles of yoga. They're there. And I, would hope that maybe you want to look into it and maybe see if it works for you. Like what I do with all these kind of things is I take what I need and I leave the rest. And so there's parts of all the spiritual traditions that has helped me in my life, that has made sense to me. And there's other parts, especially the dogma of all of them, that doesn't make sense. And then the hypocrisy of a lot of the religions. They say one thing, maybe on their special day in their special place, but then they, take it out in the world and not do that. And so, I can leave that, but I can take the spiritual principle. I can go into a lot of those buildings and feel the spirit. And I think that's just a wonderful thing, no matter, what name is on the sign as you go in, whether it be Catholic cathedral or a Methodist place or a Jewish synagogue, all those places, you go in there and you feel a spirit, and that spirit is what we are connecting to. My spirit inside connecting to the larger outside, and seeing it eventually that it's only one. So there I go into the philosophy. So at any rate, I hope this is helpful for you. I hope it dispels any kind of fear that you might have or anything like that. If you have any more questions on that, if you want to debate, you want to talk about it, you can come and talk to me in person, or send me an email or something like that, and we will discuss the matter instead of going on suspicions or hearsay or anything like that. Come and have a conversation. At any rate, hopefully it's helpful, and we will have more of these kind of things in different aspects of the spirituality of yoga. So again, especially when I'm talking, just take what you need, leave the rest, because half of it I don't even believe. So we will talk soon.